Here. Well, today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship and one of the most valuable lessons you could ever learn. We'll start with one of the biggest faults of entrepreneurs. Um, and I mean, even experienced entrepreneurs get this all the time. So, when you build a business, you typically build it around you, what you're good at, what you know, this or that. A lot of times you have to outsource things you don't know, like legal and accounting, maybe even marketing if that's not your forte. Whatever it is, you build a business and you build it around you. And that lasts for a long time. But at some point, if you're doing well and growing and scaling your business, you have to hire people. Very common. And if you want to grow and scale, at some point, you're going to have to build it around things that are not you. If you want your business to operate 24 hours a day, well, you're not going to be there 24 hours a day. If you want your business to operate in multiple cities, well, it's going to be really tough to build it around you if you can't be in multiple cities. But many entrepreneurs, the one of the toughest lessons to learn is letting go, right? You want to take care of everything. You want to go do this and do that and make sure it's all perfect how you want it. And at some point, you have an employee. And the first employee you ever hire, you're pretty much going to fire right away because they aren't you, and that's going to irk you or upset you until you realize that there isn't really anyone else on the world that cares about your business as much as you. Even like private investors, even some partners. If you're building a business with your mission, your goal or value, your vision, it's almost impossible to get 100% of your vision into someone else's head and to motivate them with your mission the same way you are. So, first, you got to accept that. And when you hire team members and other people doing things, most times they're doing it for the check. Obviously, we all got to have some money to live our little lives. But if you're doing a good thing, if you have a great mission and people agree with it and they want that to be their mission, awesome. They could be working for that. There's millions of other reasons that are coming more and more apparent nowadays, and big companies are striving for. But it really comes down to the fact that nobody's going to do it as intently or enthusiastically as you. And so one of the big lessons as an entrepreneur is letting go. And you've built this business, it's your baby, you love it to death, it's all you ever want. But at some point, you have to realize for it to grow, you have to get out of the way. If you have built it well and it's growing fast, you might be the problem and you might be the one bottlenecking it. You hire a good team, you have great employees, they fulfill your mission, and perhaps you're getting in the way of them from growing it. So, one of the biggest and most valuable lessons as an entrepreneur is learning that your business can run without you. When you can take a week vacation, probably the first one in a year or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how much you have poured into this business. But when you can take a week vacation and not do anything, and you come back, and the business is still running and doing its stuff. Maybe it's not as perfect as you want. Maybe the revenue's down 10%. Maybe it's not amazing, but the fact that you learned a lesson that you can leave for a week, do nothing, and the business still survives and is successful, that's probably one of the most valuable lessons you can learn as an entrepreneur. So recently, my buddy has a hiking company here on island, and he took a trip to Italy, had some guests, and asked me to cover for him. Now, this is rather simple, right? There's not a lot of products or ordering or rent or this or that. It's, you meet them, you take them on a hike, you tell them all about the plants, the fauna, the flora, whatever you can find. Take them to a little secret beach, swim, hang out, snorkel, whatever. So it's not complicated. Obviously, I did not do as good of a job as he would have. It's his company. He loves it. He's passionate about it. He probably climbs trees to get fresh coconuts down for the guests. I do not climb trees to get fresh coconuts down for guests. And he studies all that. I don't know as many plants as he does. I know a few. Knows more than a few. So our experience wasn't as great there, but he's still learning an awesome lesson. He can go to Italy, explore, enjoy, and live his life, and increase his mental health, his social health, go learn some culture, do some fun things, explore, and his business still runs. So he still makes money, right? He makes less money than if he had done it himself, which is obvious. He had to pay me. I mean, or whoever runs it. He had to pay an employee. But the fact that it's generating revenue into his bank account, he is off exploring doing nothing, letting go of his business, and the business still succeeded and it operated almost the same or well enough as a business. Then when you come back, you learn and see some things that may have not gone well and things you can improve on, and you keep building your business. But that's one of the biggest lessons in entrepreneurship, is learning how to let go and just letting your team do it. You got to clearly execute the mission, the vision, all your core values. And at some point, right, you know what you're doing. I'm backing off and letting you do it. And if you've ever started a business, that is so much harder said than done. But if you ever build a business and can learn how to let go, well, you'll have to. Otherwise, the business will be contained and constrained by you. And that is not going to be very big. That's my lesson for the day.